versus Leko and Van Hao versus Maxim Vashela-Graf.
Yeah, we have big pairings also. Dominguez versus, Nepomniachtchi versus Dominguez. So no more London system from Magnus against Quang Liem. Now that Magnus is leading, okay, main focus is back on him. I don't know if it's good or bad news for Magnus because while we were not focusing so much on him, he started winning.
Queen's Gambit accepted, which was my favorite opening some time ago.
Really? And you against e4, you were also playing this knight f6?
Actually, I switched to knight f6 lately. It is a very popular continuation these days, a very solid one. So let's see. Yes, so he's playing with knight b6 and the bishop b5.
Bishop b3, bishop f5.
Mm-hmm.
So... Yeah, but bishop b3 is not the main move, yeah? Because bishop d3 used to be a old big move, no?
Yes, of course, but bishop b3 is becoming very popular lately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Magnus takes his time because this is definitely not a position that you can play by hand. I mean, it requires very serious knowledge. Knight f3, e6, knight c3 played. It reminds me of the Caro-Kann advanced variation. Yeah, it's similar structure, but still completely different because the c6 square is available for the black knight.
Yes, but this position is very solid for black.
Solid, solid. But the question is it good? Or is it good enough? Yeah, that's kind of because if it would be that good, it would be maybe more popular. But you never know this.
The thing is, it was also a question of taste because sometimes you just don't want to play a position where you just want to hold. And I think that's exactly the strategy of Liem Quang. He wants to have a very solid position and to make a draw and to play with white tomorrow.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I think that if you want to make a draw, you want to play a position which is much more clean and which offers much less play for your opponent. This is a solid, stable position, but a very complex one, yeah?
Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, when you're playing against Magnus Carlsen, you're faced with a very tough decision.
Yeah, the only point what I see in Quang's choice is that Magnus haven't really had much of an experience in third move e4. I can't really recall any of his games in third move e4, and maybe it was some kind of a prep for the World Championship against Fabiano Caruana, because Caruana is the one playing capable of playing the Queen's Gambit accepted, and he has also played against Magnus a couple of times before. So maybe third move e4 is something actually that you prepare for a match because it's a big system. Yeah, a3, the typical moves.
Yeah, because sometimes the idea is to play knight b4 and to replace the knight on d5.
Yeah, both knight b4 and knight a5 against both moves. A3 is very useful because white has a nice retreat on a2 plus knight b4 is stopped.
Yes, it's a very good prophylactic move. So
it's a typical one, and okay, if black sees that there is no point in jumping, then most probably queen d7 will be played. It's always hard to judge these things. Yeah, I'm not a fan of playing something like this with black. A knight a5 is played unless you really know what you are doing, because I do feel that there is a lot of strategical risk involved. So bishop c2 played. Magnus says that no, this bishop on f5 really disturbs me. Let's get rid of this. On the other hand, it's also slightly counterintuitive, yeah, because one would feel that with this e5 d4 pawn structure, with the weakened d5 square and with all these light squares, White would like to keep the bishop, but really this bishop on f5 is too strong. And in long terms, once these bishops are exchanged, for example, takes, White all of a sudden has all kinds of kingside attacking ideas with knight e4, knight e g5, bishop g5.
Or b4, knight c5.
Yeah, many things thanks to the space advantage. So yes, black has a lovely square on d5 for the knight, but only for one knight. And what to do with the other knight? This is the typical problem. All this time, so probably Magnus is happy. It's an interesting, complex double-edged position. Maybe we can move to another game.
To the second board.
Yeah, Wang Hao versus Maxim Vachier-Lagrave.
So
it's draw already.
Yes.
Yeah, draw already. So Hao sticks to his strategy of having now already +5. He wants to take it easy and basically invites the opponents, please try to beat me. Okay, now in the last two games he was white. This also helped him. What did he do against the Grünfeld? No, but it's not so easy. You play against Maxim, it's the last round, you have a nice standing. Do you enter his Grünfeld or do you enter his Najdorf? Whatever you enter, you will be in for a very big fight. Or you do something which is safe and solid, but then you don't really have a chance against Maxim because he knows his stuff. And this explains.
Yes, as you have already said, players also tend to save some energy for the decisive rounds tomorrow.
Okay, I don't think that, this is true, because actually he can already leave now. I mean, making a quick draw in the last round makes sense.
Okay, so...
Contrary to other draws.
Let's move to...
Nepomniachtchi Dominguez.
Yes.
This is a theoretical duel. Actually, it's known to be a forced draw line, if black knows precisely. But c4, knight fc, whatever, he is always ahead on the clock, and all his makes make perfect sense. Bravo.
Well, Peter, I think that we have to ask this question Magnus himself, so our official team can address this question to Magnus.
Yeah, you should ask him. Yeah, I mean, Peter is complaining too much. You are playing too good and too quickly. How you do this?
Yes, we have nothing to say, you know.
Just, and you remember this, we talked that how important it is for Magnus to start winning. He already won now 2 in a row, and if this promising possession, which really looks promising, he managed to win, then he will be 3 out of 3 from the last 3 games and will probably take sole lead, depending on depending on nothing, yeah, because already Wang Hao game finished with Lagrave, yeah.
And I think that Evgeny have some interesting remarks.
Yeah, just to add to the discussion, how does Magnus do that? Sometimes he doesn't have to do anything. Sometimes it's done by his opponents. Well, like in this game here, which is still going, and yeah, I agree with Peter and Almira, Magnus's position does look overwhelming. It all started, I believe, on move 10, where black castled. Well, what can be more natural than that? But in fact, the key factor is the d5 square. And in my opinion, black had to go knight b4 first to control the d5, because castles, white plays a little move a2, a3, covers b4 square. It's already somewhat unpleasant because you cannot really, transfer the knight to d5. If you go f6, you run into knight h4. That's a danger of playing f6 after castle. So knight a5, bishop c2. Here, perhaps better was to take on c2, because after queen d7, what has happened, and then you see it. I mean, all the natural moves, and yeah, now that's much better for Magnus. So sometimes it's your opponent who does all the job for you.
So Peter, you have your answer for the moment.
Yeah, I have my answer. I also have my answer in a different perspective, that I think that I haven't really seen Quang Liem play the accepted Queen's Gambit. So he really wanted to bluff Magnus, that Magnus usually plays with e3, something very solid, and he will hold some slightly worse position, but he was not ready for this E4 stuff.
It seems that the position has changed drastically.
Well, not drastically, just the pawn from H5 moved to H6 and both pawns from E5 and D5 moved to E6 and D6. What can be more aesthetical, but it's resigns time. F6, D takes E7, curtains.
Amazing.
It's all over. Why on earth Quang Liem had to play Queen's Gambit accepted? Terrible choice. And he's paying the price for it.
And Magnus will be
The sole leader.
Yes, exactly.
Well, he said yesterday that there is no need to pick yet. But the question is, did he pick too early? Okay, usually, as Magnus also said, I like to lead the field. So I don't think that it will put any pressure on Magnus. It might put pressure on other people, but not on Magnus.
Okay, truth to be told that Magnus played 6 games with white out of 10. So I think that tomorrow it will be a bit more difficult, but he will be...
Yeah, but the black games are coming at the right moment, exactly, when already draws are fine for him. Yeah, and this is also a big advantage that we have seen that with white, during the whole tournament, he had been quite impressive, but with black, he didn't really know exactly what should be the right strategy, and his play was shaky. But now, after he's in comfortable situation, he can basically just go back to what he knows best, what he feels best. Draw is a good result. Let his opponent take the risk in order to try to beat him. So what is this? Now the knight is falling and the game is still in progress. No, I just can't believe this. This is just not. Yeah, resign.
Yes, and Liem Quang resigns.
Because this is just not right. I mean.
And as Evgeny has rightfully said once, that everyone is playing, but at the end, Magnus wins the tournament.
Okay, still 1 day to go, and in fact 5 more games, and Magnus will definitely have 3 blacks. That's for sure. But the question is also against whom he will get black. For example, maybe Maxim will have against him white? That would be a really interesting.